4,000 Weeks, Time Management for Mortals by Oliver Burkeman. We will all be dead any minute. This is true from a cosmic perspective, and from this we might infer that time management is our key concern in life. But there's problems with this line of thinking for many reasons, especially if you haven't thought long and hard about what you want to use your time for. Quote, "Arguably, time management is all life is, yet the modern discipline known as time management, like its hipper cousin productivity, is a depressingly narrow-minded affair, focused on how to crank through as many work tasks as possible." Hi and welcome to the Book Lab. I'm Björn, and this is the place where we bring you the best book recommendations when it comes to philosophy, psychology, human nature, and human potential. And in today's video, we're going to talk about 4,000 Weeks, Time Management for Mortals. The premise of this book is to explore a saner way to relate to time and provide a toolbox for how to do so. It's inspired by philosophers, psychiatrists, and spiritual teachers who have all rejected the urge to try to dominate time. Quote, "Time feels like an unstoppable conveyor belt, bringing us new tasks as fast as we can dispatch with old ones. And becoming more productive only seems to make the belt speed up. Productivity is a trap in many ways. Work-life balance really doesn't exist. Becoming more efficient makes us more rushed. And trying to check everything off our to-do list will only make new tasks appear even quicker. Just try to answer all your emails and you will just see a flood of new emails come in. Same with finishing work tasks, only more will pour your way. The truth is that we will never get everything under control, and that reminds me of one of my favorite quotes from this book. Work expands as to fill the time available for its completion. This is also known as Parkinson's law. There's also a good quote from Marilyn Robinson. "The spirit of the times is one of joyless urgency." The reality is that we will never have the time to do everything that we want to do. We won't even have the chance to do a small percentage of that. This has been the case for a long time, but in our modern interconnected world, there are so many more options and so many more ways to spend our times that we constantly have to face the painful fact that our time is very limited. And to cope with this FOMO, we turn to productivity. And I do this myself. If I could only be more efficient, then I could get more things done, and then I will get more time left over to do the things that are really important and matter to me. Quote, "Our troubled relationship with time arises largely from the effort to avoid the painful constraints of reality." Another factor that adds to this feeling of stress is that we live in a secular modern world. In a godless world, there is no afterlife, so we have to do everything that we want to do within one short singular lifetime. The author draws parallels for how we live in modern society and the life of the Calvinists. The Calvinists believed in predestination, that some people were chosen to live in eternity in heaven, while others were chosen by God to live and suffer in hell for eternity, and you didn't know in which group you were in. And one way to cope with the fact and try to prove to oneself that you were one of the chosen ones was to throw yourself into relentless hard work. Capitalists obviously love these guys. But what is the solution if our attempts to dominate time won't work? Acceptance and gratitude and sacrifice. Every decision to use a portion of time on anything represents the sacrifice of all other ways in which you could have spent that time but didn't. This is also known as opportunity cost. Quote, "And to willingly make that sacrifice is to take a stand, without reservation, on what's most valuable to you. It is the price that you have to pay to commit to your values and your purpose. Maybe making time for your creative project that you have on the side means that you have to live in a messy home, or maybe you can't work out as much as you want to do. Another way to cope with the fact that we only have a finite time to spend here is gratitude. We need to be grateful for what we actually have chosen to experience, or the time that we live in. I'm grateful that I was born in the time right before the internet, so I can see all of that blow up. I'm super happy that I have a beautiful family, that I'm healthy, that I get to experience an explosion in new technologies and a very exciting future. We also need to embrace the feeling of unpleasantness that comes with facing our finitude, a feeling that often gets us to procrastinate, because distraction is usually an escape from this unpleasant feeling. Quote, "To accept that this unpleasantness is simply what it feels like for finite humans to commit ourselves to the kind of demanding and valuable tasks that forces us to confront our limited control over how our lives unfold." When we care about something and do it, we have to face our finitude and the fact that we might not do it as well as we hope we would. We have to give up our godlike fantasies and actually face the fact that we don't have full control over the things that we care about. Your creative project, it might prove to be beyond your talents. This is a scary thought, of course, and this is why we tend to procrastinate on the most important things in our life. This is what happens to me when I stand up to record book club. I procrastinate on it and I ask myself, why do I procrastinate? Because I love it and it's my contribution to the world, right? But still, I do it. And I think there's something to this author's analysis of why that is. I picked this book up in desperation, actually. For years I've been struggling with time management, the common problem of having too many things that I want to do and it feels like there's not enough time. I love my work, I love my creative projects, I love to be with my family and my wife. I want to learn to play the guitar, I want to sit down and read books, I want to work on book lab. There's just not time enough to do it all. And I have told myself that there must be a way to get enough time to do it all. So I've built all these systems that I thought were bulletproof, but in the end I just end up overextending myself, I end up overslept, and eventually I collapse. And then I try it all over again with the same result. The loop just continues. This book helped me surrender more to time. It helped me accept that there's an opportunity cost to everything, and maybe most importantly, that I will never have enough time to do everything that I want to do. 4,000 Weeks is a book that is accessible to anyone, and it shines its brightest when it goes into the more philosophical and psychological reasons why we humans try to master time the way we do. I recommend this book to anyone who struggles with time management or priorities in life and have a feeling of overwhelm. This book is really insightful and a perfect book for anyone in that situation. If you like the content on the channel, subscribe, like and share. It helps me reach more people, so that's just lovely if you do that. I have more books coming up. I put up book reviews every week. Next up will be something totally different, but I also know that debasing currencies, something that we see around the world, we see raging inflation, that can also lead to some time management issues and affect how you view time, because if you can't save money because it evaporates, then you have a shorter time frame and you can't plan as much long term. And most good things come from long-term planning. And it's the Bitcoin standard, the decentralized alternative to central banking. This book has been mind-blowing, especially because it incorporates the history of money from the early days until now. It's a really fascinating book, and I will have a deeper review of that coming up next week. Let me know what you read in the comments. Happy reading to everyone, and see you next week. Björn out.